Welcome back. Real Options for City Kids, otherwise known as R.O.C.K, has devoted 16 years to stretching the options of Visitation Valley kids. Combining in-school and after-school programs, R.O.C.K opens new doors for kids overwhelmed by social and economic challenges and hurdles. How does R.O.C.K work? Meet its driving force, Executive Director Kurt Yagi. Hi, good to have you here.
Thanks for having me.
Do you ever take the kids to the ocean?
I do. That was an interesting segment. We have a program for middle school and high schoolers that part of it is focused on outdoor adventures and community service. So we've done beach cleanup days. So it really fits in line with
that's great.
Yeah, today's show.
Absolutely. So you know what? Get a copy of this book and you can refer and do some other things. As they get older, you can tell them, here, do some more things and be a little bit of a political nudge.
Yeah, no, really, that's right.
You went from being kind of a corporate consultant to the world of volunteerism, and then now you're running this nonprofit.
That's right.
That sounds like an interesting path.
You know, it was a weird journey. I don't think many people in the nonprofit go through this route. I started off doing consulting work, and I did the internet startup thing. And, you know, I started off volunteering. I found this great organization called R.O.C.K. Every Saturday for a lot of years, I just went, loved it, realized I loved the Saturday work as opposed to, well, more than my day job. And so the opportunity came up, and about 7.5 years ago, I left what I was doing and started doing this full time.
And then they said, why don't you run the thing?
Yeah, exactly. So I went from, complete opposite ends of the spectrum.
And I'm sure very different paychecks, but that's not the matter at hand.
I'd like to not think about that part of it.
Okay. There's nothing novel, frankly, and you know this, about trying to get out there and do some good and help some kids who need it.
Yeah.
What makes R.O.C.K work? You
know, it's... we think of this as a long-term solution to the challenges in our community. And our community is Visitation Valley in San Francisco. It has its challenges. And so, you know, we like to bring kids in from the time they're 6 years old all the way through their high school years.
Yeah, you say 6 through 17.
6 through 17. So the goal is that they're with us that whole time, so that they, research has shown that if they're in a program like this their lifetime of their childhood, the chances for positive outcomes in their adulthood increase dramatically. So that's really the end goal. And, you know, we're seeing those results now because, you know, since I started off 15+ years ago, those elementary school kids that were in the program when I was volunteering, they're graduated from college, they're in college, they're working for us part-time in our program.
So they come back.
They come back.
They come back and give back.
That's right, and that's what we're trying to instill in them, is that sense of giving back, community, breaking the cycle that's happening in our society. So
these programs that you do, now we've seen some pictures of these kids outdoors, but there's a push to get them out and moving around a little bit, so we get rid of the obesity, because you can get more done without being obese than being. And secondly, there is the academic push. What do you do academically? Do you sit with them, help them do homework? What? How does that work?
You know, the origins is, and our core is the sports, fitness, and outdoor adventures. It's a good draw, and it's a big need and a big void that we're filling in their lives. And we realized that we had to do the stuff in the school to keep them coming on the Saturdays. And so we do in-school programming where we're at the public schools in Visitation Valley, where we're in classrooms helping out the teachers and doing one-on-one work with the kids.
Which is really important, especially if, with the cutbacks coming in education, these teachers are going to need more help.
That's right. And then after school, we run a couple after-school programs where we're doing, you know, a combination of homework assistance, tutoring, as well as the sports and the enrichment activities.
Kurt, you do this in Visitation Valley, where it says on your website, quote, the challenges are severe and the resources are limited.
That's correct.
How so versus other pockets of areas in the city?
Yeah, sure. Visitation Valley, you know, it's an interesting community. It's a great family-oriented community. It's very, very diverse. There's its share of, it's low income, high violence. There's, you know, shooting, you talk to our kids, shooting's sort of a norm. You know, when you talk about that, a lot of them will talk about it like it's an everyday occurrence. It's just a standard way of life. It's very challenging. You know, we get, Visitation Valley gets recognized for all the bad things and rarely for the good things. There's not as many nonprofits and youth-serving organizations there, and so we're just trying to do our part. And so the more that we can do, and the other handful of nonprofits there, the better to serve this.
Funding is tight now for everybody. You wouldn't be the first one that chair to tell me that. What are you doing to thrive?
You know, my approach is, you know, in our 16 years of an existence, the first 14 years, we never took our public money, and so it was all about private foundations, corporations, individuals, and we've taken pride in our ability to generate private money. And so in the last couple of years, the need was there, and the city wanted us to take over some programs. So we do have some public funding, but the goal is we try to be as innovative as possible in our private fundraising. So we do a lot of the traditional fundraising combined with the not so traditional. So for example, we had one of our volunteers, he rode his bike across the country. His name's Dave O'Mara. He's gonna be happy that I'm plugging him. Really? Across America last year. He's not a bike rider. He did this and raised a lot of money for R.O.C.K. This year he's at it again. He put together a team to do the Escape from Alcatraz Triathlon. Raising money. We have a team of 7 people. That's in June. So
that's super. And your website, which we're going to give in a second, also has a place where you can click on and donate.
Yeah, yes? That's right. Absolutely.
One last question.
Yeah.
How has this worked in the last 7 years you've done it?
Yeah, that's correct.
How has it changed you?
You know, when I first started volunteering for R.O.C.K, just as the volunteer, I used to feel guilty because I would go into these programs and I felt like I was getting much more out of it than the kids. And I just realized that that's okay to have that feeling. And so it's really, you know, as I became executive director, I still have that feeling. And so it's really just, I guess it's filled that void in my life where I wanted to do something good. And that feeling of just helping out, it's there now. And I think you know, it's coming from a family of people who have helped in their careers. So, you know, making that change from the corporate world to doing this is it's very fulfilling.
It makes you feel like you're doing something that matters, I bet. Yeah. Kurt Yagi, I thank you so much for the work you're doing with R.O.C.K. And you can find out more about R.O.C.K if you go to rocksf.org. That's rocksf.org. That's their website. You can browse around a little bit, and there's also a place you can just hit donate, even if you can only send a couple of bucks. It's a start. And